What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Hoops Perspective. I'd like to give a special shout out to SeatGeek for sponsoring this video today. SeatGeek is a ticket app that takes the confusion out of buying tickets, alright? They use a 0 out of 10 score on each ticket to know if you're getting a good or a bad deal. Green means good, red means bad. Alright, don't waste any more time today. Get your first tickets using my promo code Hoops Perspective to take $20 off your first purchase. That's promo code Hoops Perspective. Now let's get into the video. Okay, so we've seen the high-flying dunks, we've seen him break AI scoring record, and we've seen him drop 40 plus in the state championship game to end his high school career. All that's fine and dandy, but is Mac McClung really the real deal? We see him get buckets against the sorry competition his high school team plays, and then we see him get limited minutes on his AAU team. His extremely low national ranking was also pretty telling to me, but I finally found enough film on this kid to show you guys if he's really legit or all hype. His most obvious strength is his crazy athleticism. For someone 6'2", the power he has on his dunks and just how explosive he takes off is really off the charts. I won't stay here too long, it just needs to be noted that Mac is in a class of his own when it comes to leaping ability. Windmills, through the legs dunks, reverse dunks, you name it, Mac can do it all. Moving on to his penetrating ability, Mac was like a tank at Gate City High School. It got to a point where I started laughing watching the opposing team trying their best to stop him from getting to the rim. I mean, granted, the kids he was playing against were so inferior physically and athletically compared to Mac, but I can't discredit him too much because he's actually really skilled at getting by a defender, getting in the lane, and finishing. He displays explosive crossovers, hesitation moves, in and out moves. I mean, he has some wiggle in his game, you can't ignore that. He's also showed he can utilize Euros, pro hops, and spin moves in traffic pretty effectively. I can strongly say he's not just an athlete. He's a really skilled scorer and finisher, which is pretty evident by his high scoring numbers. When it comes to shooting, Mac has a ways to go before he's a consistent threat, but man, this kid can hit some tough shots. Watching film on Mac gave me the impression that he shoots better when the degree of difficulty is high. What I do like about his shooting ability is that he gets great elevation on his shot and his form is good enough to where it doesn't really need much tweaking. He's displayed a promising mid-range game and his shot off ball screens is pretty respectable. Right now at this stage of his game, he's more of a microwave shooter. When he's hot, everything is good, but when he's off, it can be pretty bad. But a couple years of college development and I could see Mac becoming a pretty solid shooter. He just needs some time. Alright, so here's the most eye-opening weakness I saw from Mac. And I really don't want to call him a ball hog, I really don't, but Mac can be extremely selfish, man. It was kind of frustrating to see. He's a big-time scorer, but watching play after play after play of him going 1-on-4 or 1-on-5 and missing open teammates cutting to the rim or on the perimeter was very concerning to me. And it's concerning because Mac is only 6'2", and he hasn't really shown any real point guard skill. His mindset is score, 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 and yeah, that worked in high school, but I can guarantee you that's not going to fly at Georgetown. Mac is the second smallest guy on the Georgetown roster, and I'm 99% sure Mac will have numerous opportunities to run the one spot. He has to learn how to make his teammates better. These high major D1 teams aren't going to let him just constantly get in the lane whenever he pleases. It's just that simple. He's not a great passer, and he hasn't really learned how to become a playmaker yet. But the good news is, he's only a freshman, so he has plenty of time to figure it out, and I'm sure the coaching staff at Georgetown have established what role they want Mac to play this year. But I can guarantee you that role doesn't have anything to do with him shooting 20 shots a game. Other things that stood out to me is that I couldn't really gauge how good of a defender he was since he barely played any defense in high school. It'll be interesting to see if he can really defend this upcoming season. In the high school games that I watched, he just cherry picked and reached for the most part, so I can't really say if he's a good defender or not. Going back to his shooting, Mac really needs to improve his shot selection from the perimeter, as well as keeping his mechanics consistent when he's shooting. He can get in the habit of shooting difficult fadeaways when he really doesn't have a reason to fade away. These are things that can be fixed with some good coaching, so I'm not going to worry about that too much. And I still question if Mac can be dominant against real competition as he was on his high school team. On his Adidas AAU team, Mac was more of an off-the-bench energy guy, Some stats that I found from the Adidas Uprising tournament, which covered 8 games. Mac averaged 6 points per game, 1.9 assists per game, 2.4 rebounds per game, and 1.9 turnovers in 12 minutes of play. For a guy who broke AI's scoring record, you would think his stats on the Adidas Gauntlet would be more impressive. Well, here's my honest verdict of Mac. I think he's an extremely talented player who's nowhere near his true potential. I feel like once Mac develops his playmaking ability, learning how to make his teammates better, not being such a lazy defender, then we could finally see what kind of talent he actually is. Do I think he's underrated in the national rankings? Yes. But do I also think the media overhypes these extremely athletic high school players? Absolutely. This isn't Mac's fault, he just goes out there and plays. But this upcoming season, we're going to see if this heavy support turns into hate. We've seen this story before. Overhyped high school player doesn't pan out in college, and then we forget about them. Now, I have no idea if this will happen to Mac, only time will tell, but it'll be interesting to see how he plays against high major talent, and I'll be definitely keeping a close eye on Mac this year.